This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So we were talking about what yesterday, the basic commands, like we talked about present working directory, like listing the files, creating the directories and switching the directories using the call directory, one directory to other directory. If we have to move back and forth, use a call directory. Remove directory will remove the empty directories. If you wanted to remove non-empty directories, use this option, recursive remove directory name. And move is going to do either rename the file or cut paste, moving the file from one directory to other directory. Two things it will do basically. So these are all we discussed already. And we talked about listing the files. Touch is a command to create the empty files. Just it will create an empty file, nothing else it will do. VI editor also we have seen, just like you need to own the file to do the edit. That is something I'm going to talk about today. It is today topic. So if you have rights to do that, you can VI and file name. Inside the file you can write whatever you wanted and save it. Colon at the end, WQ and exclamatory. Then it will save that one. And with the cat also, what we can do, we discussed in detail of it. Tag will read the data in the reverse order. Cat will read the top to bottom. Tag read the data bottom to up. In the reverse order, it will read basically. CP, let's talk about this. This is where we need to start. CP, copy basically. Copy program, CP means. So where I am right now, I'm into my home directory right now. So LSF in L, if I look at here, okay, these many files I have. So if I wanted to copy a file, example, let's cat one of the file. What do I have in it? Let's see, cat reading the file now. So we have some data in file 10. I wanted to copy this. So how do I copy? CP. CP means you'll just create a copy. File 10. I wanted to copy the file 10 as file 20 something. Do I have file 20? No. So if I run this one, it is going to create a copy of that file. It's so simple anyway. See? If I read the file 20, you find the same data. It is copied. Even you can copy within the directory or to remote directory or any directory you can copy basically. It is possible. And then the target directory, you need to have a rights to copy. Like if I don't have a rights, I cannot copy. We will see that today itself. We have the topic permissions issue discussion we have today. Okay, we're going to talk in that direction. Kundal join, Tilak join. Okay, fine. So now if I wanted to copy this file 10 to the log 20 directory, let's go inside the log 20 directory. First, what we have in the log 20 directory. Log 20, I'm entering into the call directory means. So pwd, if you see I'm in the log directory. If I see what do we have? We have one file 30 file in it. So I'll go back again, cd dot dot. I'll go one directory back. And if I do lsf in L here, this is what you see. So now I wanted to copy this file 10 and file 20, file 10 and file 20 both into log directory. Copy and the file, file 10, and I'm giving the log 20. So sorry, I need to use CP, not copy means copy. It is gone. Now I'll do the same thing. 20 as well. I wanted to move 20 file also. If you see now here, there is no. You see, there is a file 20 and file 10. Both are there. It is not a move. If it is a move, these files would have been removed from here, from the source. It's just a copy. We are not removing the source. It is a copy paste in the Windows. Copy paste in Windows, what it does, it will keep the source and it will create a copy of it in the target. Cut paste, what it does, it will remove the source when it is copied. So the move is equivalent to that. Copy is equivalent to copy paste in the Windows. So if I go to log directory here, okay, and if I see what we have inside it, we will have three files here. See, there was file 30 before. Now we have file 20, file 10. If you try to read the file 20, it is the same file what we got from the other directory. So you can copy from the, like in the local directory or remote directory using the CP. Just copying a file, that's it. So The usage model is very simple. Just use the copy, just use CP, and then the source file name and the target where you wanted to place it out. If it is within the directory, give the directory for that target file name directly. So something, if you are really modifying a big file and you wanted to copy of it before you modify, just take the copy of it. We will use this for many reasons anyway. We're going to see that. But you need to know what this CP means. You're copying the one file and pasting it somewhere, as simple as it is in terms of Windows. That's all about copy, nothing much. Moving, see, this we already discussed. Rename the file or move the files from one directory to another directory. If it is within the directory, it will rename. If we are trying to move to other directory, it cut paste. It does two jobs basically, not one. Deleting a file. So we have seen how do we remove a directory. We did not see how do we remove a file. Remove a file is simple, rm and file 10, nothing else. If you are owner only, you can delete. I'm the owner. See who logged in, Ravinder. And who is owning this file is Ravinder. This is the owner. This is the group actually. This is a group. This is the owner. So Ravinder is created the file. Ravinder is deleting. It will remove. So if you go and check lsfnl, the file 10 is gone. So if I wanted to remove maybe file 20, okay, file 1, I wanted to remove multiple files, file 4, right, file 5. If I see this, all are gone. See, all are removed it. See, I could remove a file because I am owning it. That is another important thing you need to know. You cannot remove a file which is owned by someone else. You cannot. You are under you are under home directory. I'm under my home directory. Nothing will be stopped. Under your home directory, you can do anything. You are the admin under your home directory. If you move out of your home directory, you cannot do anything that you wanted. Only you can do where you own the directories. So we will see that right after this. I mean, after these small commands, we'll go to the permissions part. Next, removing a file is that simple, guys. Nothing else. Just rm file name. And we have used, if it is a directory, if I wanted to delete, directory is non-empty, rm-f and the directory name. rm-r actually. What does R stands for? R stands for recursive delete. We discussed that in yesterday class. rm-r directory name. So it goes to the each directory, child directories, and delete one by one, and at the end it will delete the parent directory. Right, next WC. This is something very useful for us, seriously. WC we use in many ways actually. I'm going to use WC, word count basically. WC means word count here. So if I go and check here, any of the file, okay, cat file 3, do I have anything in it? There's nothing. Okay, so what I'll do, just to show this word count, I'll just wanted to create one file then. File 5, we have that log 20, right? Yeah, log 20. Here we have the files. So now I'm trying to read one file, file 30. Let's see what it has. There is nothing. Okay. File 10, we have some data, right? Word count. Word count hyphen L. L means lines. How many number of lines we have in that file? It will tell you the complete lines in that file. If I do this, 9 lines we have. It even calculate this empty line also. That's why it is in C. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. It is calculating total lines of the file basically. When the file is too big and you don't know how many rows of data it has actually, if you wanted to quickly do it, you can use this option. So what I'll do, let me show this better, I guess. It's lengthy file. cd where data are. Just I wanted to pick up a little big file so that you get the better understanding of it. Okay. Log, right. So now there is a file. The file is equivalent to this is in bytes actually. 1 MB, 1.2 MB file it is basically. If I try to do, you cannot do it. It's owned by Mongo service and group is MongoDB. So if he has to read, he has to be sudo over. Sudo, yes, Ravindra is a sudo over. So sudo and cat, sorry, wc word count hyphen l and Mongo. So I'm just talking about this command, guys. What is wc? Nothing else. What this is going to do, it is going to go inside this file. It is going to pick up number of lines the file has basically. If I run this, it is asking my admin credentials. Okay. So if you see how many lines are there, 7,737 lines are there in the file. These many lines are there total. If you wanted to know how many characters are there, characters means letters. How many letters are there? It will tell you that also. So this is many letters are there. It's a vast numbers. Letters means see Mongo. How many letters Mongo is a 5 letter. Like that. How many letters are there in the whole file? It will tell you that. How many words are there? How many characters that C means? How many words? Words means each word has a word basically. If I go here, W words, it is going to give these many words are there. So these characters and words we never use, but this one will be used. WC. So maybe let's go back to my home directory and tell you this. Don't worry. See into my home directory now again. In my home directory right now. I'll create one file. Vi file 5 something. Okay. This is a sample file created for what do I say? Sample created for sample example discussion. Something I'm writing. Text file. I wanted to intentionally create this words basically. I'm going to talk about this file in different ways. Okay. Something like that. If you see, so we have file 5, what I created, file 5, cat, file 5, if I read it. So total how many lines we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines we have. So now if I do that, see, whenever the file is very huge, don't read it directly. You can see the file size when you're trying to LSF and L will tell you the size. If I go to here LSF and L, it is telling the each file, this is size of the, if you see this value, 666014014, this is something is equivalent to, this is in bytes, by default values in bytes basically. If you take about this, it will become kbs. If you take out this, it will become MB. So 121 MB file it is total. The value, whatever you see is in bytes, not in kbs. So take out the last 3 digits, it will turn into kbs. Next 3 digits, then it will become into MBs basically. So this is equivalent to 121 MB basically now, right now. So if that is a big file, we don't read it directly. If it is a text file, we don't read it. First, look at the word count, look at the lines, number of lines the file has. That way, we will identify, okay, these many lines are there, lakhs of rows of data is there in the file. We don't want to read everything. We have to filter it. How do we filter it? We'll see. Say example, if I'm reading this lines, total 7 lines it is. 7 lines it is saying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, seven lines we have. If you see how many words are there total together, words WC, WC, W. Words means W. You don't use this words file, but you have the option. That's why I wanted to discuss. Total 25 words are there. So it will calculate 1, 2, I guess this won't calculate the oval basically. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Right. Okay. It is even calculating the oval as well. I mean, whatever you have a space, see here to here you have space for every space, and starting the some text is a word for this one. A is also a word basically. That's how it is saying that 25 words in the file. If you look at the characters, WC, I'm not going to count this anyway, just understand. Total 140 characters we have. If you calculate this 4, and the space also a character for this one. Space is also a character. So total 140 characters we have in this file. So that way WC will be used. But way to be use this is something I'm going to call this one. This one I'll use it many a times, especially for many reasons. We'll see this. Word count lines. So in a file, how many lines of how many rows of data we have? Like when we get the input file to load into Mongo, they'll give us some files to load into Mongo. Like it can be a CSV file, it can be JSON file, it can be JSON array file. But you wanted to know how many rows of data is there. So that will give you some idea how much time it is going to take. Anyway, we're going to see that. This is especially used many a times, word count. Okay, that's all about the WC, guys. Display the number of lines, words, and bytes in the file. Lines, words, characters, not bytes. Okay, fine. Then head. For this, the best example is that file itself. I have to move to this directory. Where Mongo log. So here I have a file, very big file, 1.2 MB file. If I try to read as it is very big file. It is going to, oh, come on. I don't own. Ravinder owned that file. Who is owning this file? Mongo service. Different user is owning it. So I cannot read it without referring to my admin rights. So I have to give my admin password. See, there's a lot of data in it. See, a lot of data is in it. So you don't want to read all of this, crap actually. You wanted a specific data whenever you wanted. So if you see, it has a lot of lines. We have seen 7,000 lines of data we have. Now, before I read, before I read itself, we can come to know how many lines of data we have in this one. That's a good thing. 7,737 lines of, like rows of data is there in that file. Now, I don't want to read all the data. Then these commands will come into picture. Head, tail, less, more kind of. Okay. Head means top of the file. How many, see, sudo means I need to be an admin to read the file. Why? Because file is owned by someone, not by me. Next level is the permissions only. Next 10 minutes I'll start the permissions. Don't need to worry. You understand what I'm trying to referring to. This file Mongo 3 is owned by Mongo service and Mongodb. And who is reading? Ravinder. Ravinder is not the part of this, like group and all. So you cannot read this file. If I wanted to read, though it is irrespective of the person it is owning, I need the admin rights. Admin can read any file anyway. That is why I'm calling sudo permissions to read the file. So now I wanted to read the top 10 lines of that file, top 10. So I'm giving this head. Head means the top of the file. I want to read 10 lines of the file, top 10 lines of the file. It will only load 10 lines instead of 7,733, something we have seen, right? There it is, 7,337 records we have, out of which I wanted to read only 10 lines of the top of the file. You are interested to run for some reason. It can be reason, can be anything. We'll see that. And if I go to here, maybe I'll make it this one to 30 lines. It will load 30 lines automatically. So I wanted to read from the file top 30 lines from the file. So why do we read? That is scenario based. We're going to see that. But you need to know you have a big file and you wanted to see the top, how many files you wanted to see. So that files it will load automatically. Top head means the top files. Here it is written displays top 10 lines of the file. Head 15 will display the 15 lines of the file basically. So that's what it is. It is simple, nothing else to talk about. If I don't give anything, let's see. If I don't give anything, it is going to load 10 lines by default. By default, it is going to load 10 lines. But if you wanted specific number of lines, you have to mention it. By default 10. If you don't mention 10, if you mention, maybe I wanted to 40 lines of that file from that file, top the 40 lines of the data. So it is loaded 40 lines of the data. It's like that. Reading the data from the top of the file, 40 lines, 10 lines by default. If you wanted more lines, mention the number, as simple as it is. Next command is tail. Tail is something read from the bottom. See, it is reading from the top. What we are doing head command is reading from the top of the file. If you wanted to read from the bottom of the file, tail we will use it a lot. Why? Because when we troubleshoot Mongo, we have to read this log. This log will tell you if the Mongo is not starting, why Mongo is not starting. And if something error happened, what kind of errors are written. We're going to see the Mongo log file. This is a Mongo log file actually. So I wanted to always read the tail. So basically, if you don't give anything, so sudo is mandatory again. Sorry, sudo is mandatory because I cannot read if I without my admin rights. Tail, if I'm reading this, it will show you the bottom 10 lines by default. By default, at the end of the file, 10 lines. Basically, we read 50 lines or 100 lines most of the time, 50 to 100 lines to troubleshoot the Mongo issues. If I go here, the the bottommost 50 lines are loaded for us. This is where the issue will reported. If Mongo is not starting, I'll read this last few lines that will tell me why the Mongo is not starting, what is the problem, where it is actually not getting the dependencies to start. So the tail command very useful for us, for admins, for product admins especially, because we need to read the logs. No need to worry, we will see a lot of issues and I'll run through a lot of troubleshooting. That time you need to know how to read the files, where it is located, how do you find, all that we're going to see in detail of it. No need to worry. If you follow tomorrow class and almost maybe one off class more, you get the most of the admin part at OS level to manage the product. We don't need to become a like pro, like you don't need to be super knowledgeable about the OS. You just need to have a basic knowledge to manage the product. You are managing the product, not the OS here. Okay. So sudo tail -50, it is going to read the data 50 bottom 50 lines of the file. That is what it is basically. And there are very good commands more. You have less and more. These are our equivalent commands basically. So if I'm reading through cat example, sorry, and you're going to use sudo, then only I can read it. If I read the data, it is reading the complete file. 7,337 files it is reading. I don't want. I don't want to read that at one go. See, it is loading all. I had to scroll up if I wanted to read one by. If I wanted to read from the beginning, I had to scroll up manually. No, I don't want to do that. So I wanted to use a command called less command or more command. More file name. If I give this one, if I'm giving this one, it is going to load page by page. So sudo more and the file name. See, it is loaded one page. If I hit the space bar, it will load one more page, page by page. It won't read at a time. It is reading the file a page by file. How many lines it can fit into your screen, that many lines are loaded at once. Again, next screen, next screen, next screen. It's a page. So here if you see, it is loaded up to now open. After that, how many new lines are there now open? See, now open, then it started from there. So how many lines are fitting in your screen? It is just browsing through the file screen by screen. Maybe your screen is smaller, it won't load these many lines. It may be less lines, less number of lines. If you have a larger screen, it will load more lines. So how many lines are going to fit into your screen? That many lines it will load, and it will go page by page like that. It is reading the data page by page. Space, you have to hit the space, and it won't allow you to up or up, like downward arrow. There is no such thing. There is no backward. Backward you have it B. You just have to type B. You will go back to read the data. But again, page by page, you will read back to the data page by page. How it is loaded, the same way it is. Again, if you hit it, it will go down like a page by page. So see guys, you have a lot of data, and if you're using the cat command, it is loading all of the data at a time. So I want it to go page by page so that I can understand what I'm trying to read for some reason. So what are the reasons? We're going to see that. This is a more command. Just more is going to load the data page by page. That's a good thing. Just Q. If you want it to come out of it, Q. Hit the Q. That's it. It will come out of it. When it is more, it will enter into the file. When it is reading the file in middle of it, if you wanted to quit out of that Q, hit the Q, it will come out of it. Right. That is about the more. There is something command called less. It's equivalent to the same. There is no much difference except one thing. Less. If you use this command, what happens? It will load the data. It is also load the data page by page, but it will also load the data line by line with the downward arrow, upward arrow. Both you can use it with this. See, line by line. I'm just hitting the downward arrow. So it is reading the data line by line. More you cannot have that option. Page by page only you have the option. With the less command, it will load page by page as well as line by line also. Two things you have. If you hit the space bar, it will load either space bar, enter, both. It will take you to the complete page. No, I don't want to load complete by page by page. I want it to read line by line, downward arrow. If I wanted to read go upward, line by line, down upward arrow. Arrows will work in the less command. Arrows won't work in the more command. But both the commands are almost equal. It is loading the data page by page when you hit the space and enter. But with the more command, upward arrow, downward arrow won't work. There is no, it is not going to support more command. Less command will read page by page, line by line also. That is the only difference you have it between the more and less. See, more and less equally, they are equally, same, almost same, except there is one additional thing. With the more and less, if you enter space or enter, it will load the data page by page. How many lines are fitting into your screen? With the less option, you have one advantage is that upward arrow, downward arrow, line by line also it will load. That is an extra addition with the less. So less is a more advanced command than the more, which means. Are you guys clear? Say something. You guys clear? Everyone.
Yes.
Right. So if you have anything, just don't keep it quiet yourself, guys. You keep asking questions, so I'll keep answering your questions. Don't worry. Right. This is all about that less, more, and tailhead and all this, guys. Let's enter into the formation. This is where the things are very important to understand. If you understand this, you can build your own directories and create a service accounts, give the ownership, and start the Mongo. So this I'll finish today. Only permissions part, groups and like assignment of the groups and user permissions. That's something tomorrow topic. We're going to talk about only file permissions today. Let's go to it. So quit. I'm reading it. I'm hitting Q. Then it will come out of it. Then clear the screen. Clear means clear. It will clear the screen. So now where I am right now into my I'm not into my home directory. So if I do lsf in L, and this is where if I'm can I create a file here, touch file one something? I cannot. I'm not into my home directory. I'm not using my admin rights. So I'm not allowed to do. So that's what we are going to talk about. Where we are allowed, where we are not allowed to create. That you need to know. Very important topic it is. Let's see. Sorry guys. So I'm into my home directory. Under your home directory, nothing will have a you don't have any restriction. You can delete anything, you can create anything, you can manage anything under your home directory because you are doing under your profile, which means under your profile you can do anything whatever you wanted. But out of profile means out of your home directory, you cannot do anything if you don't own the directories. Let's go on. play one point by point. Let me clear. So go to home. Okay. Into the home directory, how many users are there? These are the users are there right now. Okay. So I'm going to create a user. Sudo is mandatory to create a user. Sudo user add Karthik. Just for sake of this, I'm creating a Karthik user. As soon as I create, it will create a folder. Karthik folder got created. Is a user now. I wanted to create. I wanted to set the password for Karthik. If you don't have a password, you cannot connect using that user. Creating the user does not make sense as long as the user has a password. So you must add the password. Sudo. No need to worry. User creations is a tomorrow topic. That's why I'm not focusing about the user add command. User add, user del, user password, something is comes in the tomorrow topic. Users groups and all. So password, PSSWD and Karthik. Is it a capital? Yeah. So I'm running this. So it will ask the password for his account. Try to follow very closely. Very, very important this topic is. I'm going to open a new session on the same server for Karthik. It will ask me, do you want it to remember his password? Yes, if I say, every time I'm trying to connect with the Karthik account for that server, it won't ask me the password. It will cache the password automatically in the tool. You don't need to do it. Even you close and reopen also, it will cache the password automatically. The tool is like that. So now try to follow this. I'm out of my home directory. We are not going to talk about the home directories anymore because permissions come into play when you're out of home directories. So we will talk about out of home directories everything today. Within the home directory, nothing will be restricted for your profile because you're working under your profile. When you go out of your profile, out of other this file system, so df-h. So these are the file systems you have it. I'm going inside this basically where. So now cd where I'm going to different directory pwd. If you see where, if I go inside into lsf and l, we have these many files. I'm going inside the mongodb 10 whatever it is. Let's go with inside it lsf and l. So if you see, I don't have anything. I'm going to create a files here. Sudo, I'm going to use a sudo. See, sudo can do anything anywhere. Sudo means administrator, irrespective of the directory, irrespective of the permissions. A sudo can do anything, removing, deleting. He can damage everything if you wanted. But don't think about the damage. Anyway, he has a privilege to do anything. Sudo means a administrator in Windows terminology. Sudo, I'm creating a file like touch file 1, file 2, something like that. Okay, just try to follow closely. So now there are two files we have, and there is something given. Let's make directory also data and log. Two directories I'm making it. Sorry, I had to refer to the sudo. Sudo is mandatory. Let me clear. Right. If you see, I created two files, guys. File 1, file 2, data and log. If you see what is there in the beginning, whatever is starting with a D is a directory, always. So this is a absolute basic I'm talking about. You all know, maybe some people don't know. That's why I wanted to talk about this. The file which whatever is see what the file, these are all files kind of for you. Out of which, if you see D, whatever is starting with a D is a directory. Directory means you can browse the directories. Directory means you can browse, you can enter into that. If there is no D, you can read it. You cannot browse. This is a file. There is no browsing concept for a file. You can read content of it, but you cannot browse the file basically. If it is directory, browse means you can enter into it. There is nothing, browse means you can enter inside the directory. If you have the child directories, you can do that. Who is this DB monitor? Please use the names, guys, when you join, please. Who is this DB monitor?
Actually, I joined. I'll change it. Yeah.
This is Lata.
Yes, Ravi. Yeah.
Okay, okay, fine. Not an issue. Just I wanted to know who is joining, so Use the names, guys. If when you're joining, I need to know the names. Right. So if you see here, there are two directories and two files, and owned by root user. Here, this file is owned by root, not by normal user. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go inside the. If you see this one, these are the permissions. Okay, these are the permissions basically. It is associated. So permissions, we have three layers of permissions. We have one for the user. Okay, it's already started. Okay, so one for the user here, one for the group, one for the others. Let me pick up that quickly. I'll explain this first. Then I'll come back to permissions part. It will become easy for you, all of you. See, for every file there are 9, like digits will be there here. 9 means first to 3 for the owner of the file. Owner becomes user, the root is user, and the next 3 here, this is refer to this group. Next 3 will refer to the others, everyone in the world, everyone in the machine. Not only this last part becomes others. Let me show this quickly. There are 3 portions, guys. If you look at, there are 3 portions. So I'll pick up this. This is a user. User means the owner of the file. Then group. It is going to next. Really, it is playing. So groups. Then others. So there are 3 levels of permissions for every file associated. If you look at 3 permissions, if you look at here also everywhere. If you see, I'll just pick up this output quickly, and then just highlight is enough to copy the content of it, guys. If you see every file, if you see there are one is the owner, one is a group, one is the others. Others means everyone in the machine. So if you see the same thing for everything, 333, we have 9 letters here. If you see these three permissions will belong to the owner. What kind of permission owner have here? Here read write he has it, and the others. If you see the group means a group. This is a group basically. See, guys, there are 2 things you need to understand. Who is the owner of this file? The root. And what group this file belong to? What group this file belong to means this is a group. By default, username and group name the same. By default, group name, username is same. Groups and user concept will be covered in the tomorrow class, basically, not today. We're going to see that. Okay. So here, try to follow. This is a file is owned by root. Root is owning all the permissions. And here root is owning the read write, not the execution. Even the owner of the file also cannot execute it as long as it has the execute permissions. So now if I go back to the Karthik session, try to follow. Where I am Mongo, let me know, let me see the directory, Mongo 10. This is where you need to understand now. Come on, cd.
It's MongoDB.
MongoDB 10, yeah. If you see, we have some files here. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to load some data into file 1 or file 2. Just quick discussion. Sudo, I must use sudo. Just I'm entering some data, guys, nothing else. Whatever it is. I'm saving it. Now, if I wanted to read, the Ravinder cannot read this file directly because he does not own it. Cat file, if he's trying to do. Oh, I kept file only. So you have the file and file 10, 3 files. If I'm trying to read cat file, I cannot read it. So this is a Oh, he can read it. Okay, good enough. Why he can read it, I'll talk about. See, cat file. You have the file here also. If I'm trying to, let me clear the screen quickly. Just look at this. See, this is the file. If you look at this, read, write, hyphen. So owner has a read, write. Group has a read only. Others also read only. So now Karthik becomes other. How he will become another means, see, owner is root, and this file belong to root group. Whoever, like other than that, all are others. Others means Karthik comes under others here. He does not come under group. He does not come under owner. Where he'll come in other group basically. Others is something, everyone in the machine. Others means here. So Karthik can read it. Let me tell you why. You can read the file. Why? Because on this file, others have the read permission. Others have the read permission. Let me take out that permission. So sudo chmod. We have a command called chmod. I'm going to change the permission of that to users and group should have the permission. Okay, others should not have the permission. So let's go with the other. Other means O minus. I'm going to talk about this. What I want to take out read from what file right, lsf and l. Let's see. So now this is a file. I took out the permission. I'll talk about the chmod. We have time anyway. I'll conclude this chmod, ch1. There are two commands we have. So if you see on this file, group has a read write. Sorry, owner has a read write. The owner means user, and the group has a read, but others does not have anything on this one. Previously, Karthik was able to read the file. Now he's trying to read the file. He cannot read any. Let me do the lsf in L first. Here, if you see, there is no permissions given to the others. Owner can do read write, group can do read only, but others means other than the owner and group, Karthik will become other basically. Is other in the machine. So other does not have any permission. If I'm trying to read that file, it will throw the error, permission denied, because you don't have a permission to read it basically. See, this is going to define. So let me tell you this thing again. There are symbolic mode permissions assignment and absolute mode file permission assignment. We have two things, two types basically. So we have the topic here. I'm going to explain that anyway. Symbolic mode, and you have here numeric values we can give it basically. Okay, so file permissions here, absolute mode and symbolic mode, we'll call it as. Anyway, first absolute mode. Let's talk. This is tough basically to understand. Absolute mode. You have to remember this, then only you can understand. So basically there is one means, see, every permission will follow three things here: read, write, execute. Read, write, execute. Every group, user, others, whatever it is. See, user, read, write, execute. Group, read, write. What I'm referring to, you're definitely confused. This is a dry subject. Anyway, you have to follow it. So I'm picking all of this content. I pasted it already anyway, like this. If you see, for every file, there are three things. One, this is the owner, and if you go to this one is the group, this one is other. Three things we have. So these permissions can be manipulated by using the chmod command. Means change permissions, modify permissions basically. Chmod means. So when you are giving the permissions, you have to either give the numbers or give the symbolic mode. What is symbolic mode? What is like absolute mode? We're going to see that. One means, one indicates when you're giving the permission with the numeric values. One means basically execute basically. Two means write. So it will be like this. Come on, how do I say this? Anyway. So R dash dash, you will get only read permission if you are giving one. If a two means, you'll get the like this. First, sorry, this should be execute. Anyway, I'll conclude. This is a dry subject, seriously dry subject. You need to understand. If you understand the permissions, it will become easy tomorrow. Tomorrow class is that simple. If you follow this tomorrow, today's class especially. A to means actually a write. Write comes in the middle when it is in the symbolic mode. So if you see, first read, then write and execute. So first execute, then it is a write. This is equivalent to write. To means write. You are giving the write permission. Write permission. Next, third. Three equivalent to write and execute. 1 2 will become 3 basically. So this will be wx. This permissions you are getting if you are giving 3. Write and read permission. You will get it. If you give that number, where I'm going to use this number, I'm going to talk about, but you need to know this. Next, 4. 4 is a read operation. Read. Read means r dash dash. This will do the read operation. Read permission. Right. 5. 5 is equivalent to, see, 4 plus 1 equal to 5. 4 plus 1. Individual writes you have to combine. 4 hyphen x. What you can do with the 5? You can read and execute. Read and execute. I'm going to show all of this with the commands. 6 means
Ravinder, is third one WX or WR?
wx. See, 1 means, see, 3 is forming 1 plus 2 equal to 3 basically. So you are getting the write, you are getting the execute. R means 4. It should be the value 4 basically. Read permission. The number 4 indicates that read. How it is forming, I'm explaining. You need to mug up these numbers anyway to work with the permissions. If you don't mug up, you need to understand. How you understand is, what are the individual permissions? 4 is a read individual permission. Write is an individual permission. 2. 1 is an individual permission, execute. So if you look at 5, what individual permission making 5? 4 plus 1 is equivalent to 5. So it is giving read and execute. So 6. What are the 2 individual permissions can make 6? Anyone? Individual means read, write and execute. Which combination will make 6?
RW.
Very good. RW hyphen. So here you will get the read and write like that. What combination will make 7?
RWX.
Or WX. So let me conclude this if someone is not understood this part. If you know these numbers, you can work with the permissions easily. Read, write and execute. Let me explain this, no need worry. If you understand this flow, this one, you can easily understand the next I'm going to discuss. See guys, permissions are represented in terms of numbers. When you are representing 1 means you are giving the one execute permission only. 1 means. 2 means you are giving the write permission. 4 means you are giving the read permission. 3, what are the 2 individual permission making 3? 1, 2 is making 3. Okay. Individual means read, write, execute. These are the individual permissions you have to combine. 1, 2, 4. What is the individual permission making 5? 1 plus 4. See, 2 plus 4, 6 it is becoming. So what is making 5 is individual permissions. 4 plus 1. That's why read and execute. 4 is only read permission anyway. What is 6? Individual permission is making 6. Read plus 2. So read, write. So you have to understand this way. It will become easy for you to understand this way. First, you need to remember 1 means execute, 2 means write, 4 means read. These 3 you have to remember. Then combination you have to calculate. If you want to get read, right, read is 4, write is 2, 6 I need to give. That way. You have to calculate in mind. There is no other shortcuts for this. You have to remember these things basically. First remember these 3. You get the other permissions automatically. These 3. Okay. So now let me come to the discussion. If you remember this chart, it will become easy to manipulate the permissions now. So now I'll go to here. So first, there are 3 things we have: user, group, others. Sudo chmod I wanted to give the read write permission to the owner and write permissions to group, write permission to the others. Owner all permission, example all permissions. What is all read write execute? What is the number? Read write execute?
7.
Read write 7. Good. 7 is a read write execute all. That is what we seen here. Read write execute given with the 7 number. Read write execute. Now others should have the write only. Then what is the number? Others. And group should also have the write permission. Others and group should have the write permission. What is the number I have to mention? Right.
2.
2. That's correct. That's correct. So 2 and 2. So what this is going to make is here file 1. File 1 owner has a read write permission and the group has a read permission. Others don't have any permission. If I run this command, 7 means read write execute for the owner all. For the group, you're going to get the only write permission for the group here, and others you get only write permission again because you are mentioning 2. On which file are you wanted to apply this file? The file 1. Now if I execute, oh come on, it is asking the password. Just a minute, because I am using the sudo. Fine. If you see the file, read write execute is given to the owner first. Then for group, next three is a group. Write permission is given. Others write permission is given. So with these permissions, can Karthik read the file? It's a question to everyone. This is a file. He's trying to read it. Will he read it?
No,
No. That's a good answer. Why he cannot read it actually?
it doesn't have permission. Only
You don't
write
have a
permission.
right. You have only write permission. You don't have a read permission here. He belong to other. He is not owner of the file. He is not part of this group. So he will become other only then. So for others on this file, is given only write permission. If I'm trying to read that file, cat file, it will throw the error. But I can modify it. It is possible to modify. Vi, because I got the right permission. Vi file. Okay. So what I'm going to do, insert mode. This file is modified by Karthik, something like that. Okay, escape and save. That's it. So now he cannot read it. What he modified, he cannot read it. So who can read it? This admin can read it. What is there? Previously, this is the data was there, right? Now sudo, I have to use sudo. Even myself cannot read it because it is owned by root. Cat file only, right? If you see, this file is modified by Karthik. So he modified the complete content of the file. Who? Karthik. He got the right permission. That's why he is able to modify it. He's able to modify. So now, if I wanted to make him read, what I have to do? See, I wanted to make him read. Who? Karthik. So chmod first. Sudo chmod change, like changing the modification. Chmod means changing the permissions as good as it. So now owner should get the read right, group should get the right only, others should get the read right. Tell me the numbers. Owner should get the read right. Read means 4, write means 2, 6. See, you always remember this. These three, if you remember, you can get all combinations. 1 means execute, 2 means write, 4 means read. So now what I'm asking here, for owner, first part I am asking, owner should have the read right. Read is 4, write is 2, 6. And group only should do the write. So what is the number I have to give?
2.
2.
7 to 6.
Right. Others should get the read right. I was saying it. 6. And which file you wanted to mention that? Right. Now the permissions have been modified on the file. LSF and L. So if you see this file, owner has a read write and group has only write, and Others got the read right. So now Karthik can read it directly. He can read it. There is no issue. He can VI that file and he can add some more data if you wanted. Okay, insert mode. There is a sample data, something blah blah, whatever it is. So I'm saving it. Colon, escape colon, WQ exclamatory. So now he can read it what he modified because he got the read permission. So now what I wanted to ask is, I'm going to give the full permissions to him. So everybody should get the full permissions. What I have to do? Sudo is mandatory because I don't own that file. Sudo chmod, everybody should get all the rights and all, like user, group, other, everybody should get all the rights. What is the numbers I have to give?
7.
777. That's it, file. So everybody got the rights here. So now here everybody got the rights. So can Karthik delete this file? What do you think? So Karthik got the full rights, read, write, execute. Can Karthik delete this file? What do you think? He can do anything. He can do the read, he can do the write, he can execute it. Can he delete the file? That is another question. Though he has the full privileges at file level, can he delete the file? It's a question.
He
What do
should.
you think?
He should.
So rm file. So only owner of the file can delete the file, irrespective of the permissions. Only owner of the file can delete the file. Keep that in mind. Permission denied. See, Karthik has a full rights. Read, write, execute only can have it as maximum. He has a maximum permissions. Still, he cannot delete the file. Who can delete? The owner of the file can delete it, irrespective of the permissions. This is another important point you have to remember. If you have to delete a file, you should be owner of it. See, here, the Karthik is trying to delete a file. He is not able to delete because the owner is the root actually. I want you to transfer the ownership to the Karthik. There is something called chown. Before you do it, you need to know the Karthik group also. ID Karthik. This is a command to see the Karthik group details. So ID Karthik means Karthik is a user. He has a group called Karthik only. Username is also Karthik. Group name is also Karthik. By default, username itself is a group name by default. If you don't mention the group name when you are creating it, how do you mention a group name when you are creating is a tomorrow topic. Groups and users assignment, something comes in the tomorrow class. But today we are talking about the permissions. So now I wanted to give the ownership to on this file to Karthik. How will I do it? Basically, there is one more command called chown. Chown. I have to use a sudo chown. To whom I wanted to give the permission or ownership Karthik. And which group you belong to, you have to mention that mandatory Karthik group only. On which file you wanted to give the ownership? File. See here, chown is going to change the ownership. Change the ownership. Chown means change ownership. To whom I wanted to change the ownership? Karthik. Karthik is user. Which group you belong to? Karthik only. On which file you wanted to transfer the file ownership on the file? Now, if you see, the Karthik will become the owner. See, is the owner of the file and the group also Karthik. Now here I cannot delete this. Root also, root can delete any file anyway. The sudo can delete any file. That different story. But here this file either should be deleted by the administrator or by Karthik. No one else can delete in the machine. Two people can delete the file. One is administrator. Administrator can delete any file. Sudo, that means anyone's the file is owned by any other person. It doesn't matter. He can delete it. He can delete it if it is owned. If not, administrator can delete. These things you must keep in mind. Administrator or owner of the file can delete the file. No one else can delete the file. So now, if I'm trying to delete Ravinder, so I cannot delete this file. Permission denied. If Karthik is trying to delete, basically, what do you think? Can copy the Karthik can copy this file? What do you think? What do you think? Can copy Karthik can copy this file? CP file 2.
Yes.
Where he is doing? He is doing out of his directory. You cannot do it because you are writing a new file. New file you cannot create. You can only manage this file. That's it. You cannot copy it. You cannot copy that file. Why? Because you are not into your home directory. You are in the var mongo 10. If you wanted to create a new file, you need to have a create permission on that directory. You don't have that permission yet. Directory level permissions you don't have. You have only file level permission. If you are copying, means it is creating one more file. To create one more file, you don't have permission in the directory. You should own the directory, then only you can create a copy of it in that directory. That is another layer thing. First we are working at a file level, then I'll come with the directory level. No need to worry. So now Karthik can delete this file. He can do anything what he wanted to with this, especially. Okay, just a minute. Is Marvin joined today? Fine. Sorry. So now if I go to here, this is my directory. This is the directory which is not owned by Karthik actually. If he's trying to do the copy, it cannot happen. If he has to create, he has to own the MongoDB 10 directory so that he can do anything inside the directory. Without owning the directory, you cannot do anything again. We are discussing about the file level permissions, then I'll move to the directory level. No need to worry. So now this file, which file? Oh, it removed already? Come on. All right. So now Karthik can remove the file. Before I delete it, I wanted to copy it. Who can copy? Root can do it. Sudo cp file. Just we have some data, right? File 2, file 5, something I'll mention. Sudo can do anything. Anything means anything. So now, if you see, go and see, there are 2 files. And Karthik only owns one file. You can only delete this file if you wanted to. So rm file. It is not even deleting. Okay, need to have a directory level permission to delete a file, I guess. Though is a owner, you don't have a write permission, read permission on the directory. You cannot even delete, is the owner of it. Okay, coming at the directory level. Permission denied. So is the owner means you can only modify as long as he is not owning the directory. Let's talk about the directory now. So did you guys understood the file level permissions? See, file level permissions means what you are giving at the file level, read, write, execute, or what you wanted to do. So now this he can do it. He cannot delete, but he can modify the permissions now. Who? Karthik can modify. So now chmod. See, if he's trying to modify the file permission in the file one, chmod, and here read, write, read is there. I wanted to take out the permission from everyone. Example. Chmod also user owner cannot do it. Let's see. 700 file 1 operation not permitted because the Karthik does not own the file 1. It is owned by root. But can he change the permission? I don't think he can change it, but okay, let's give it a shot. Okay, 744 file. Okay, good enough. He is able to do it. So previously the file permissions are this: read, write, execute, read, write, execute, read, write, execute. But here he modified the permission. So the Karthik is able to modify. Why he is able to modify? Because he own the file. He can manage the permissions. You no need a sudo. Sudo you don't need it because you own the file already. If he's owning the file, he can manage the complete permissions on the file level. Deletion, again, you need to have a write permission the directory to delete the folders and files from the directory. That comes at the OS underlying layer. So if you are the owner of the file, you can manipulate the permissions of that file. That's it. You cannot delete it. If you wanted to delete, you can delete if you are owner of the directory where the file is sitting. That is another layer thing you need to understand. I guess you guys confused a little bit. Say something if you confused, followed. Did you guys
Confused.
okay, I understand that. This is something subject is like that. So see guys, very simple. I'll make it simple now. You have a file, any file. First you have to look at who is owner of this file. Karthik. Who is owner of this file? A root. So only root can do anything on this file, like modifying the content of it, modifying the permissions of it, anything. Others cannot do it. Here Karthik owning this file, he can change the permissions if you wanted, because he own that file and he can modify it. He can do anything on the file. He's the owner of the file. He cannot delete. He cannot delete because you don't have a permission on the directory where the file is sitting. See, the permissions are hitting the directory first, not the file. In terms of removal or creation, when you're trying to delete a file or creating the file, the permissions are hitting on the directory level, not at the file level. These are all higher level privilege. Creating a file, deleting a file is a little higher level, but file level activities, we are talking about the file level activities only. File level activities, if you let me change these permissions to see, this particular file has a permission to group also can read it. Can Ravinder can read this file? Anyone can tell? Based on this permission model, Ravinder will become user, group, or other for this file now. At least answer that question.
Other.
Other. Very good answer. Why? Because owner is Karthik and this belongs to Karthik group, and Ravinder is not part of the Karthik group. So Ravinder will become the other. Can he read this file?
Yes.
Yes, he can read it. Why? Because others have the read permission. Others have the read permission here. But I want to take out that read permission to others. Who can take out? Either administrator can take it out or owner can take it out. So he's the owner. Who? Karthik. Now chmod. You don't need to use a sudo. Why? Because he's only working on that file. Sudo 760 for others. Others are not getting any permission. Now if you see LSF and L, the permissions are changed again. Read, write, execute for owner. Read, write for the group. For others, there is nothing. So if you go and read using Ravinder, Ravinder is another for that file. Is another. I'm trying to read that file. Cat, it will throw the error because others don't have the read permission. See guys, you have to always keep in mind. There are three layers of permission. One is the owner permission, one is a group permission, one is the others permission. You have a owner here right after the file. This is the owner of the file. Whatever is showing just here is the owner of the file. Next, what is showing is a group. How do we map multiple users into the same group is a tomorrow topic. But if you are getting the permissions through group, you can manage the file. That's something comes in the tomorrow class. So we are talking about the owner of the file and others and group only at the permission level, not group assignment and all that. Group assignment will come in the tomorrow class. That is the end of the Linux basic, and other topics will be there. So try to follow this. User, group, and others. These three permissions are there. And you wanted to manipulate the permissions, then there is a command called chmod. Using the chmod, you can manipulate this file permissions. So using chmod, so if you don't own the file, sudo chmod. So if I wanted to change the permissions of this file, I can change it, though it is owned by Karthik. Why? Because I'm using the administrative privilege. Chmod, what permissions you wanted to change? So others should have the read-only permissions. Owner should have this read-only permission. What is the number? What is the number for read? 4. Read 4, right? And group should have the read write. What is the number? Read and write. Read is 4, write is 2, so total 6. So other should have the read permission again, or only write and execute permission. What is the number? Write and execute?
3.
3. That way you have to, it is simple guys. I'm just only referring to the numbers which are giving the permission so far, nothing else. If you see, you have modified owner have a read only, group has a read writes. and others got the write and execute permission on the file. So this way you can manipulate the permissions by using the numbers combination, this numbers combination. Okay. Next is symbolic mode. See guys, it is simple anyway. I'll conclude this slide. So file ownership is an important component of Unix that provides a secure method for storing files. Every file in the Unix has the following attribute: owner, group, others. Three things always will be there. And permission indicators will see if you wanted to get the file level permissions, ls-l will give you each file level permissions. We are seeing that each file level, how many files are there, how many directories are there, what permissions you have at what file level, who have what permissions. Owner have this permission, group has this permission, others have this permission. You can see that using the ls-l. So now what you're going to do, see, first character file type will tell you the directory. First character type, first means D. This D will tell you the directory. The hyphen will tell you the file. If the first letter of the file in this one is indicating something, D means a directory. Without a D means a file, which is just a hyphen. That is what it is talking about. First character 2 to 4, see, first character is a file type, either it is a directory or file. 2 to 4 is the owner, 5 to 7 is a group, 8 to 10 is others. R means read permission, W means write permission, X means execute permission. If you come to here, okay, that's all it is given. And the next part I include, like discuss this here. Basically, next part. What is 1, what is 2, what is 3, what is 4, 5, 6, 7. This number, if you remember, it is easy to give the permission on the fingers straight away. What permission you have in your mind to give someone, you can easily give it to everyone. Permissions are very important. Anyway, every day we'll discuss about the permission when we talk about the product also. But if you have the basic understanding now, it will be easy for me to make you understand about the service account ownership on the directories. If you don't have ownership, the service will not start. You will create one service account. Service account should own all directories from where the Mongo is running in the background. If it doesn't have a permissions, it will fail. Why? Because it is not able to write into the directory where it has to run from. So if you wanted to modify the file level permission, this is the thing, guys. Let's go to this symbolic mode. Giving the permissions, it is using the symbolic mode. Chmod. Okay, sudo I have to use. Sudo. So on this file, users should have the read write, and group also should have the read write, and others should have the, here you can give the permissions like this, like this. User should have the use u plus permissions. You can add the permissions. What permissions you wanted to add, you can keep it here. U plus I wanted to read write. For user, I wanted to give the read write. On which file? chmod. Just this is again another part. Maybe this is a little confusing. Tomorrow you will definitely clear it out, this part. No need to worry. So if you see here, sudo chmod, u means user, plus means adding the permissions. To user means owner of the file. To owner of the file, I'm adding the read write permission on the file. If I run this one, lsfnl, this is easier than the numbers basically. See, the owner of the file got read write. Before he got only read permission. So user should get all the permission, read, write, execute. Then what we have to do? See, user should get all the permissions. Sudo chmod u plus read, write, execute, or write double execute. If I run this command on the file, you get the full rights. Who? The owner. Read, write, execute. If you wanted to give the permission to group, then sudo chmod. This is a symbolic mode. Group means G plus means adding the permission, plus means adding the permission. So what permissions group should have on this file? I wanted to give him only write is already there. I wanted to add read also for him. Read, write, execute also I wanted to add. Execute file. See, look at this. Group has a read, write, only read, write. Execution is not there. I'm adding that write also. chmod, G means group, to the group of this file. Group of this file is have a read write. I'm adding the X execution permission also. So now if you see LSF and L, execution permission is also added like this. So now I want to take out the permission. Sudo chmod. U means user, group means G, O means others. From everyone, I wanted to take one permission. Write permission I want to take. Write means W. I want to take out execute permission also. Example. If you see, owner has a execute permission. Group also has a execute permission. Even others also have execute permission. I wanted to take the permission, write and execute permission from all, everyone. User group others. UGO means user group others. Minus means taking out the permission, not adding. From everyone. On the which file I want to take out the permission? File, basically. If I run this LSF in L, read write is gone for everyone. See, previously read write is given here and here and here also. But from everywhere, read permission, write execute permission taken away. Confused? Say something. See, instead of the numbers, you are using the symbolic mode. In symbolic mode, U means user, G means group, O means others. So equivalent to this command, can anyone tell, like in assignment, see in number assignment, you have the, every time you do the chmod, sudo chmod, every time you mention the numbers, that numbers will apply by default. By default, it will apply. It will override the existing permissions all the time, every time you execute. So if I'm giving chmod 777 file 1, if you see the permissions are all permissions are given. If I run again the same command, come on, maybe 700, every time it execute, it will apply the new permissions to the file automatically. 700, owner has a read write and group has no permissions because 00, and group also have a don't permission. Every time you run this command, it is overwriting the existing permissions. But symbolic mode is not like that. Either it will take the permissions what you mentioned, or it will add the permissions what you mention. What you don't mention, it won't touch. This is something very depth. If on the first one go, you don't understand this thing. It is a dry subject in the Linux, especially. But anyway, by tomorrow you can understand. Tomorrow you definitely catch this point. This permissions always tricky part. If you understand this, the product, the service account creation ownerships will become easy for all of you. Try to follow this as the last discussion. Chmod, if you use a numeric mode, it is going to replace the permissions every time you execute. It will replace. But chmod symbolic mode, sudo chmod ugo, user group others. You wanted to add the permission or take the permission? I wanted to add the permission. What permission you wanted to add? So I wanted to add write permission to everyone or execute permission to everyone. So here write and execute is already there for the owner. It won't touch because it's already there. For others, it is adding the write permission, execute permission. So group and others, it is adding. So just try to understand. Now if I do LSF and L, see, others got the group got the write execute, others also got the write execute because you included in the command change permission to user, group, others, add two permissions, write and execute. You are giving the plus means adding the permissions. If you wanted to only take the example, come on. So now you should understand at least UGO, user group others minus. I want to take the execute permission from everyone. Like
in this case, if you just want to apply to users and group only, what you can do? Remove the O.
yeah, that's it. That's it. If you wanted to apply to the only users and group,
Users and group and
that's it. That's it. If you execute this, the permission, the execute permission taken away from the owner and group. That's it. Here, the execution permission taken away. here and here only, not from the others. So what is your intention? You wanted to change the
Got it.
permission, add the permission to user, group, others, or user or group only, something like that. So now chmod, it is easier than the numeric, basically, if you understand. So group should have, see, group have only write permission on this one. Group wanted to get the read permission. Tell me in the symbolic mode. It's a question. Group
Sorry,
should
what you group
group
should have?
should read permission.
Yeah, then
Hmm,
G plus
hmm, hmm.
G plus R.
Excellent. That's all. That's all. If you understand this, now group was not having the read permission. Sorry, this one. This group does not have the only write permission. Now LSF and L, so group got the write permission. Now I want to take out the read permission from everyone. Then sudo chmod is common. Take out
UGO
the permission.
minus UGO minus R.
That's correct. If you understand this part, you understood everything.
You
Sorry,
had a
it should be
space between
space.
you.
Right, right. Now you understood. So read was taken from everyone like that. I wanted to give the permission to user and others read permission now.
UO plus R.
That's it. You got it. It's so simple anyway. But this is something anyway, little UO, users and others. I wanted to add the read permission. Okay. So hit enter. So come on, sorry. On which I wanted to file. So now you see this one. For users, sorry, for owner and others, read permission is added. For group, I did not touch. I did not include the group in this one. So user, group, others, and you wanted to add the permission, take the permission one at a time. Adding and removing at a time is not possible. Either once you add it, once you remove it, like one after the other. UGO will indicate the user, group, owner, and after that this symbol will indicate the adding the permission, taking the permission from everyone. Okay, adding the permission. What permission you wanted to add? Read, write, or execute. That's it. If you understand that format, it is easy to follow. Is it clear to everyone? Say something, please. Last, I am left with one last discussion. If you understood this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So, right. Good enough, guys. So read, write, execute permissions. We have 3 permissions. If you go with the, like a user, see, user or owner, both are same. There is no difference. G means group and O means others. There is something called all. All is also given. We don't use this. Don't confuse again. Maybe I don't use personal. I never use this one. But anyway, let's give A plus what permissions? Execute permission to all and file 1. So if it applies to everything, UGO, instead of you wanted to mention EGO, A means everyone. So now from everyone, I wanted to take the write execute permission and write permission. Sudo chmod A minus WX. Everyone is going to be removed on the file. So instead of UGO, you can mention A, LSF and A, all gone like that. A means all. You have this option, don't confuse. Even you don't use it also fine. You can go with the individual UGO, or A. Both are same, there is no difference. All, A means all. That's it, nothing else. Plus adds the permission minus remove the permission. Equal to sets the permission and overrides the permission that earlier was set. So see here, chmod test file. So others are getting this here. Others are getting the read, write, execute here, equivalent to this one. It don't worry again. You confuse with this model. It is also assignment permissions. Adding the permissions equal to others are getting the read, write, execute basically. Sets the permission, override the permission that was set earlier. Basically, whatever the permission doesn't matter. What you are applying here, it is going to apply that automatically. Okay. This I don't use it anyway, no need to worry. So taking the permission, giving the permission at file level. Let's finish in 1 or 2 minutes directory level. It is same at directory level also. So if I go where I am right now, pwd, let's go to one directory back, lsfnl. So now who is owning this directory? Root is owning it. Now Karthik is owning the file. Is not able to delete it. Which file? This file, Karthik file. Is not able to delete rm.file. Why is not able to? Just a minute. Rm file. Yes, I wanted to. Permission denied. Okay, at least it was asking some prompt. Is not able to delete because you don't have the ownership. Now I wanted to make the owner of this directory, where I am right now, into 10 only, right? 10. I wanted to give the ownership to the Karthik. Ownership to see if Karthik is trying to create a directory here. Can he create a directory, make directory? mkdir data log. He cannot create basically. mkdir data. Oh, it is there already. Okay. Maybe temp directory is trying to create. It is permission denied. Why permission denied? Where he is actually is into where Mongo. This Mongo 10 directory is not owned by Karthik. If he is not owned, he cannot create anything in it. He cannot delete anything in it. He cannot do anything at file level activities like creating a file, deleting a file. He cannot do it. And the underlying infrastructure. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a owner of that one. Chown. There is a command called chown. No need to worry. Tomorrow we'll talk about this again. Chmod, chown, everything I'll talk again. Today you got an idea, fair idea. So chown Karthik, username is Karthik and the group name is also Karthik. Both, you have to mention both. And which file, which directory I want to give the permission to, basically MongoDB 10. If I give this one, chown, right, if you see LSF and L, so now who's owning this directory? Who is owning this? Karthik is owning it. So now Karthik can do anything under this directory if he own the directory again, if you own the files. So let me clear the screen quickly. So last 1 minute topic, 1 minute. See, Karthik own this file now. Karthik can delete that file now because he's the owner of the directory where is the file exists. Is the owner of this directory now. So now Karthik remove that file. It is possible. Yes, I wanted to. It is gone. The file is gone. See, file is gone. Can you create the directory? Yes, he can create. He can do anything new directories, but he cannot delete these files again, though he's the owner of the directory. He's a directory owner, but still these files are owned by someone. If I try to delete example, file 1, it will throw the error. Come on. Remove the file. Are you sure? Yes, I wanted to. Is it gone? No, it should not be gone. The heck is gone? Really? It is owned by root, right? rm file 2. Yes, I wanted to. Oh, great, good enough. So he's the owner of the directory. He can do anything in it. So now he wanted to create a new directory, mkdir, maybe temp, maybe SQL. So if you go and see, he can do anything under this directory now, which means he's deleting the files which are owned by other people also. So he is the owner of the underlying architecture. See, whatever you are doing within this MongoDB 10, if I go to MongoDB 20, he cannot do anything. Why? Because Karthik is out of his home directory. He is owning one directory out of his home directory in the under where I am right now, under var directory. If I try to make a directory here, can he do it? He cannot. Why? Because he don't own the again this var directory. You don't own it. But where you own it, MongoDB 10 is on it. If you go inside in it, you can do anything in that directory. See, let me show this quickly, very quickly, diagrammatically, so that you understand. So you have var, okay, or MongoDB 10. And the same thing you have MongoDB 30 also, you have something there. Okay, let me make this bigger. Okay, now Karthik is a user. Okay, is owning the permissions on this directory, only this directory. Inside this directory, whatever is there inside this container, he can do anything under this container. But if you look at this one, this is not owned by him. This is also not owned by him, and this directory also not owned by him. What he owns is a MongoDB container, MongoDB folder. Inside the MongoDB folder, if Karthik comes into that directory, he can do anything on that directory. He don't worry about this where anymore. He's inside this directory. Inside this directory, got the ownership on the directory. If you get the directory ownership, within that directory, he can do everything. He can create, drop, and everything he can do it. You guys following? See, he's owning this container kind of. It's container kind of thing. Folder is a container anyway, in which if Karthik is trying to create like directory, come on, under where he cannot create because he don't have ownership on the where directory, where he has under MongoDB 10 mkdir lab 10 something. I'm trying to create permission denied, but when he go sorry, here it is. So pwd cd dot 1 minute guys, I'm done. It's too late I guess for you people. If you see under where you don't own it, on where directory you don't own any permission. mkdir lab 10, I'm trying to hit it, permission denied. When I go into Mongo 10, is owns that, it is written owner of the file directory is Karthik. Now inside the MongoDB 10, Karthik can do anything. mkdir lab 10, it is created. If you see, directory is created. You wanted to remove the directory, see this file is not owned by, this directory is not owned by him, this directory. Where I am into MongoDB 10 only, right? So if this directory, if you look at, I want to delete this directory, rm-r data. Oh come on, I need to give a yes, come on, yes. So if you see, the directory owned by root but still is able to delete, because he got the ownership on this directory completely. Whatever is there inside this directory, whatever it is, all these directories he can do it. Why? Because the parent directory owned by him. Here he got the ownership. The subsequent directories he'll get the ownership because he got on the parent directory. If you get this directory here, the permissions, he can do anything on this directory also. Why? Because this directory is sitting on this directory. Is it clear? It's kind of a tree, the permissions tree. You got the permission on the MongoDB 10, subdirectory, anywhere you get the permissions because you got the permission in the parent directory. And if I get the permission the where, I can do anything on the 10, I can do anything on the 30 also, because these two are sitting under the where container because you got the permission the where. Following or not following? Say something quickly.
Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah. Any questions? We are done. Tomorrow class, again I'll repeat the same almost thing. Tomorrow you definitely follow the permissions. Groups assignment. After the group assignment, permissions. Then that will be the conclusion of group assignments and permissions demo. If you understand this, then I'll discuss some more administrative commands at OS level. Maybe 1.5 class more we're going to spend. But anyway, I'm not going to rush anything. Though it is take 2 or 3 class extra, which is fine with me. My intention is to everyone need to follow what I'm saying. Let it take time, doesn't matter. What is important is everybody should follow and use in the real time. That's important. Even in the product also, nothing in like fast and hurry and bury, it won't be there. Everybody understand, then we'll move to the next. You keep asking your questions if you have it. That's I do recommend.